STAKK Nation, welcome back to the channel.
Champions!
We have a bit of a reaction video for you today. It is a combination of two very powerful things. Things that will shake up the world. These videos here are from Preston, whatever that last name is. From Preston. I don't think it's Sai. Yeah, because that's not an S.
Psychology. Psy. You don't pronounce it PY. It's a silent. It's
yeah.
an AI name.
Well, it's all good. A combination of Bitcoin and AI, ladies and gentlemen. What does that look like? Let's jump right into it here.
As this proliferates, even if you're not on it, it'll be able to infer who you are because you're not on it. These things are so powerful. You're not going to be able to hide from AI no matter what you do. And that's why Bitcoin's so critical in where we're going. This is where the future is going, and there is going to be no hiding from it, no matter where you are in the world.
Your thoughts on that, sir?
All right. That's exactly what we're talking about today, guys. How bad is it going to get, or how good is it going to get for you? It all decides or depends on who is on the wheel, who is driving it. We've seen what ChatGPT has been doing to our lives lately. Of course, it's making our lives better, but you should ask yourself, who is actually designing the AI? And you and I, we've done several videos on this about how biased the Google Bard and the ChatGPT is. Because this is a technology that is designed and is trained by people, right? So what happens when or if it's trained in a way that goes against the normal style or normal way of life?
Right. This is true. Well, I think what I just gathered from there is just, if we're now in a situation where everything is connected, it seems Bitcoin is still going to stand out as the main factor that can keep you split from the centralized systems that are really existing. Even in the event where you're using Bitcoin or implementing AI with Bitcoin to maybe carry out some workflows, let's call it that. I think that still having that decentralized method of securing your money seems like it's going to still be very, very valid.
Exactly.
When it comes to Bitcoin there.
Exactly, and that's exactly what we talked about in this video. So this next clip of the video is talking about how it's teaching AI to understand the difference between proof of work and proof of stake, which goes back to the initial comment that I made, was that who is designing the AI? Because if you design the AI correctly, then it will help you further make better decisions in the future, which then the next video after this video that we're going to show you guys is now going to go into details of if the AI is properly trained, it's going to be...
let's just watch this one video first.
Yeah. Let's go there. Let's do that. Let's do that.
The one thing that I, in Bitcoin, I'm really passionate about proof of work versus proof of stake. And so there was some interviews that I had done with Saylor and some others. You were one of them. And so I took some of the interviews that I was involved in with respect to proof of stake, proof of work. So I pump it into the model, or I'm there working with the assistant to build the model. And I said, one of the things that I think is really important is this differentiation between proof of work and proof of stake. Here is a document, and it was all the transcripts from those discussions that I want the model to really have a deep understanding on. And I supplied the transcripts, and I even told the assistant, I said, even though I'm not talking in these interviews, the people that are, I completely agree with their opinions on this particular topic, proof of work, proof of stake. So it ingests it and it replies back, and it's like, okay, I'll make sure that these are part of the way that Preston responds in any type of questions that come across with respect to proof of stake, proof of work.
Yeah, go ahead. What are your thoughts there?
This is the part that most people don't know about AI, is that there are actually people that train the artificial intelligence to have a thought process. It's modeling. Right, with a lot and lots of information. And some of our concerns lately, I think Elon Musk just mentioned that on Twitter the other day, is that it's concerned that the modeling is based on a specific mindset, a specific group of people's thought process. Kind of like how we've seen the definition of recession and inflation change over time.
Yeah.
What happens when they change the definition of everything and then have AI be the primary source of information, where now you're not only going to have the wrong information? Notice when we go to OpenAI or ChatGPT and we're asking about what money is and what could be money,
Yeah.
you see the responses that come out of it. Especially, it's very kind of, it's not pro Bitcoin.
Well, I think it's that argument kind of it's a tricky one. I think it still requires time for us to figure out what's going on, because at the same time it's also kind of what sort of information you feed to the model, you feed the AI. So, and I totally understand where you're coming from with the biases. By default, yes, it's going to be putting out certain biases, but that's also based on the information which has been using to train, which a lot of the information that was out there is kind of biased against Bitcoin. If you look at all the articles that people have spent time putting together, looking at Bitcoin as the killer of Earth, essentially, and all of that stuff now is ingested by the AI. So I think that to a certain extent, which is also something they spoke about a little bit there, it'd be important for everyone to be able to train some sort of model, like Preston was describing there. He used some of his papers and some of the information that, just some of his papers and some of the content that he has put together to fit into that AI model. And then that AI model is able to respond like he would, right? So in the same way, like how you're describing with the biases that the AI has, right? In this case, he was training his to respond like him, like
So
something that
proof
he
of
would
work.
say and
Yep.
something like that.
Yep.
So, yes, while that bias is there, I think that having this technology in everyone's hand, and I think that's something that is really cool as well, is the fact that anyone can also train AI models, which also speaks to that aspect of decentralization. Of course, as time goes by and as a lot of these AI models are going to be rolling into a more profit-based sort of structure, there will definitely be some biases there for sure that will keep cranking up. And I think that, like you said, there's concerns, whether it's deep fakes or the concerns with the quality of information that we get back is going to become more and more of a concern. But, human beings have always been resilient in that way. Despite the sort of situation, I think that there's probably going to be a new sort of way of checks and balances, if you will, or checkpoints to start checking these things over time.
And that's
Maybe
what,
after they've used it, to their advantage first. But yeah. Go ahead.
yeah, that's part of what Elon Musk is working on right now with Grook, is to create that balance, pushing back against a centralized AI and make it more decentralized. I think Jeff Booth is also working on the same thing, where you can have your own personalized AI that thinks like you, but also can reflect to what other AIs out there you're talking about, instead of pushing just one centralized form of information.
Absolutely. So really, you can look at, if you have a personalized AI, then maybe you can look at it as like another person that is yours, and all the information that that is relevant, that you feed to it, you can use it to cross-check with other things, and then kind of negotiate things just the same as any human being would be able to, interact with someone and be like, well, this person is lying to me. What this person is telling me is not true. You can also, so there is that side of it. And I think that is great that people like Elon are still pushing for that type of stuff. But yeah, that's definitely an interesting one.
And now this is where Bitcoin comes into the picture.
Oh, okay.
It's crazy.
Let's see what they got.
Have to send that everywhere. But the point is, as this proliferates, even if you're not on it, it'll be able to infer who you are because you're not on it. You'll have a stamp. The people that look a certain way will be categorized by the way they look. Like, these things are so powerful that you're not going to be able to hide from AI no matter what you do. This is going to be a part, and that's why Bitcoin is so critical in where we're going. this is the future. This is where the future is going, and there is going to be no hiding from it, no matter where you are in the world.
Explain what you mean by that, as far as Bitcoin.
So ultimately,
well, what are your thoughts on that?
We go deeper though. We have to get to 30.
Yeah, totally. But I don't want to get hit with a copyright strike.
Because
we cannot play
the
video
thing.
for
Okay.
all right, 1 minute or whatever that is.
So what I was saying here is what we were saying earlier, but more, right? So we live in a world where, let's say in the near future, where AI has been implemented, right? And as you know, we've given it information. Information data is the new oil, right? Kind of like how you use the internet now, and they have all these cookies tracking you all over the place. And they can almost know who you are based on the cookies that they've collected on you. Now imagine AI. AI just not just collect the cookies, right, or knows who you are. It has rationalized and collected so much information about you that it can make decisions on your behalf, as if it's what's you. So when it's not you, it also knows that it's not you, that it's somebody else not in the system.
Right.
That is dangerous. You're no longer a free human, literally. Especially if it's a centralized AI. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's insane.
And Bitcoin is where that liberation comes into play, right? You don't have to really display that it's you or that it's your information.
Yeah, I get all of that, but at the same time, I think one thing that happens with people who are tech fanatics is that sometimes they always jump to the most extreme cases of any situation, and I think that people are kind of jumping the gun too far on this one. I think people need to relax with the ID thing.
Digital ID thing?
Yeah, people.
Europe is pushing that right now.
I get it, but people need to relax with it, because if you look at all of these people, especially Bitcoiners, they're living in this mindset of running away. I think that there has to be a point where if we don't want something, we should just say we don't want it, instead of trying to always find a way to get away from it or get around it. When does it end? Yeah, when does it end? Because the more you keep trying to find a way to run away from it and get away from it, you incentivize the same people you don't want to come after you to keep trying to find other ways to keep. So it keeps being this cat and mouse game. And I think at some point in time, society just has to be like, no, we don't want it. We don't care for it. Leave us the hell alone. Period. And then let it just be that. It just seems like human beings are in this place where they think everything needs to keep getting more and more complicated and complicated and complicated. It does not need to be. Innovation is great, and we can innovate to the moon. But where the heck are we going with
all the innovation?
This stuff, especially where we are right now. We're living in a time where we have a group of people who don't know how to balance a simple economic balance sheet, right? Look at the economy right now in total shambles. Cannot even balance the economy. Printing money left and right. And these are the people we want to give this type of technology to. We need to pump the brakes. It's absolutely insane.
True that.
Innovation is great. But I think that there's a point where we are at a place where all of this is very stupid. Okay. It's like the pin thing, right? With the phone and the kind of thing. Again, innovation is great, but some things come up at the wrong time. Okay.
Oh, Lordy.
It is great that it's existing. It's great that all of these things are happening, and I think people should be learning it. But the time will come when that is going to come into or it's going to emerge. Like the next video which we're going to be doing, you see here, someone asking us about how to buy real estate with crypto and avoiding taxes. It's a great thing to do, but is it the best time to be doing it? So that's just where I think of some of this stuff now. Are we carrying on?
Yes, please.
All right.
They're a real simple premise. This is, but because money is distorted today, and who gets the win out of that distorted money? So let's use the top tech companies, right? Why do you think people are investing in the Magnificent Seven? Because they're stealing money at and they're not stealing money. They're incented by a system that is more and more efficient, and they can remove labor faster
than anybody else.
Than anyone else. And you use their things because they can remove labor faster because they're cheaper, more effective for you. So you race to them, and then you store your wealth in those same companies to make it happen faster. Well, jobs are being, jobs eventually over the course of time will go down, and that whole thing keeps people on a spiral, which they in turn reinforce. That makes costs higher and higher and higher, and measured in fiat. And it's stealing it's literally stealing the productivity that should flow to them in the form of lower prices, and transferring up into control monopolies and government who move into essentially business together to provide control over population. That's what's happening. And it's happening at a
What are your thoughts there?
Exactly what we were talking about in the last video.
Yeah, the capital flight.
The capital flights, but the same. We are storing our value in this top 7, 6, the fangs, whatever,
Yeah.
right? But the same fangs are the ones stealing the value out of the economy,
Yeah.
and exporting it somewhere else,
Yeah.
for dirt cheap, and then also not paying taxes,
Yeah.
right? But technology by design is supposed to be deflationary, right? But for some reason, things keep getting more expensive, and your government keep making regulations for them to keep them in the system, and we are also by default storing our value with them. This is why Bitcoin comes to rescue us. You don't have to be enslaved to your slave masters. You're not only slave to the governance, you're also slave to the systems that you use, because the systems control everything.
That is true.
an alarming rate because the natural state of a free market is deflation. And if you have technology moving as fast as it's moving, the natural state of a free market is massively deflationary. In other words, we should probably be, if all things were equal today, we didn't live in this kind of manipulated money system and the debt was repaid. If all things were equal today, I'll bet you would have about 5% annually deflation rate in the economy, meaning the entire world would be getting richer at 5% per year as they worked less and got more. And that would go faster as AI moved faster, right? As AI moved into robotics, that rate of deflation, in other words, everyone would have to work less and get more for every year forevermore. And so we have that system that is essentially the Bitcoin system, where prices, because of a 21 million cap, right? You can't manipulate money, and it means in the Bitcoin system, all prices are falling. Exactly like I said, it's measuring the free market. It's measuring prices falling to the marginal cost of production. It's measuring exponential productivity, and as long as it stays decentralized and secure, which we both think is inevitable, right? Then no matter what anybody does, doesn't matter what people yell at it, governments try to stop it, but as long as it stays decentralized and secure, it is measuring the productivity flowing to society in the form of lower prices. Well, the existing system must steal that productivity to pretend to pay back debt it can't pay back. And the outcome of stealing that productivity, essentially creating more monetary units, transfers all control into big state, big tech. And it does so because the incentives are completely backwards. It's not a free market at all. There is no free market in the world we're moving in. So the control structures, the only way to control people, or the only way to get away from essentially that financial repression, stealing their money at an ever greater rate, is through control and coercion, which you're seeing play out around the world. Right. So that's the two completely different systems. So people in Bitcoin are moving the world into a free market where there's abundance, where nobody can manipulate your money, and that abundance flows broadly to society. If you're measuring your life or reinforcing the other system, you're doing the exact opposite. And
that was fire.
Yep. Oh, go ahead.
I mean, I was watching this video. Preston, thanks for putting this interview together. Because Preston was saying in this video that they've been having these conversations. You and I have these conversations, but we don't record them. So they decided to start recording their conversations as well.
Yeah.
And what I was saying here means a lot. And a lot of people don't see it from this angle. We're in a system that is just control-based. A system that is constantly stealing from us. He explained everything, and we all know it. but people just rather just admit and accept it instead of pushing back. And I think the people pushing back in a non-violent way are the Bitcoiners. A world where we're more abundant, where your money is not being devalued or debased,
Yeah.
right? And with AI, which means that you're gonna have to work less. I mean, the internet and the implementation of the computer has made a lot of people work less. Actually, now we have AI, which is gonna and robotics, right? Which is gonna even make us work a lot much lesser. Things should be a lot much cheaper. But for some reason, they didn't get cheaper during the last technological revolution and the internet, because they continue to steal from us. They found other ways to steal from us. But now this is another opportunity to escape that.
Yeah. But it can only be done on the Bitcoin standard.
Only. Like you can
So-
trade other coins or
Yeah.
whatever, but those are not gonna get you out of the system. They're still centrally controlled.
Yeah. Well, I've said it time and time again on this channel that all these institutions are going to one day get on their knees, man. They will all be humbled by Bitcoin. It does not matter what they want to do. You can create all the ETFs you want. You can go left, right, center, and come up with all sorts of crazy things. The bottom line just remains the same. If these people have the capability of doing anything to Bitcoin, they will do it. If you look at the mindset of this sort of people, these are the same people who say never fail to take advantage of a crisis, right? Currently, this means that if these people have the tools to take advantage of something, especially if that thing is in a vulnerable position, they will do that.
Yep.
Yet they only speak about it when it comes to Bitcoin and never actually take action. We have not seen Bitcoin skip a beat. So, and they started from calling it a scam to all of a sudden trying to be the biggest holders of the same thing. You still look like idiots because all of you called it dead. You all called it a scam. You all called it stupid. Yet we are here. So, as far as I'm checking the score, the people that we expected to be the pros and supposed to be leading the financial strength of our society don't know what they're doing. They have failed multiple times with Bitcoin, which for me, maybe not for everyone, really puts their credibility in a shaky place. And these are some of the things that have inspired me to try to learn Bitcoin even more, to really zero down on understanding Bitcoin as much as I can and how I can slowly and gradually grow into this new economic system that is already existing right now, and understanding it in a way that will be able to allow us to provide value for people in a wide array of areas over the future. This thing is not about tomorrow or next year. I know a lot of people get excited about, how much money can we make? You get excited for the short term
Gains
but we're talking about changing the whole operating system of the world,
of the world.
despite what any governing body might think
Establishments
or
want to
feel
do.
like they want to do about it, despite all the firepower they have. This is something that will go down without one bullet being shot. Don't get me wrong, some people have been taken out because but nonetheless, again, Bitcoin, combining this with AI, understanding these two things will put you in a superior place. That's all I have to say about this one. Anything else, sir?
I would like to finish by saying AI is another opportunity for a major deflationary impact to our personal economy. We should be pushing for more personalized AIs, not centralized AIs. And with a new form of technology where the face of money is changing and we're going towards a more decentralized money that is not controlled by central powers, that is not stealing your store of value. And then we now have a technology such as AI that also complements that creates for a better future. Literally a better future. But what could take away from that better future is governance, these regulations, these people in government that want to keep us all enslaved. Instead of us running away from it, we should be going towards it and saying this is the right way. This is and should be the future.
Absolutely.
And I think that is that is my message for the people out there, is that do not listen to the mass media. Take your time to understand it and push for a better future.
Incredible. Well, ladies and gentlemen, be sure to like the video, subscribe, and share the video. We are also on X as STAKK. And last but not least, on Spotify as STAKK. Until next time, brazen out.
Champions. Double